Hey, my name is Mike, and I'm part of the outside sales team here at Gregg Distributors. On today's Gear Up with Greggs, we're going to hit the ground running while we discuss one of the most important components of your vehicle's system, grease. While most people know that a vehicle needs oil to run smoothly, grease tends to be left on the sidelines of maintenance routines. Many parts of a well-oiled machine also need grease, such as the bearings, kingpin, tie rods, clutch release system, universal joints, and more. And just like oil in an engine, the grease in all of these parts need to be refreshed and replenished in order to keep your equipment up and running. Castrol makes some of the toughest grease on the market, and for good reason. Castrol products are tested and retested to ensure that you, the consumer, are getting the absolute best quality product they can offer. Before we get into the specific types of greases, it's important to understand what exactly a grease is. At its basic level, grease is made of three different components: oil, thickener, and additives. Greases are generally 80 to 90% oil. It is the viscosity of this base oil that is important for lubrication. Let me show you what I mean. The National Lubricating Grease Institute, or NLGI, certifies greases with a consistency rating. This rating ranges from 000, very fluid, to 6, a solid block. A number 2 grease, comparable in viscosity to peanut butter, is the most common consistency recommended by manufacturers. This is due to the grease's ability to stay in place over a wider normal temperature range. The second part of a grease is the thickener. Thickeners act like a sponge, absorbing the base oil as the grease heats up, keeping it in place. Typically, thickeners are made up of simple or complex metal soaps, but occasionally they will be made from non-soap thickeners, such as bentonite and silica aerogel. One of the most common complex thickeners is lithium-based, made with a combination of conventional lithium soap and an organic acid. Last up are the additives. Additives play several roles in a grease, including enhancing existing benefits, suppressing existing drawbacks, and giving new beneficial properties to the grease. Some of the typical grease additives include oxidation or rust inhibitors, extreme pressure, anti-wear, and friction-reducing agents. It's also fairly common to see grease with boundary lubricants, such as molybdenum disulfide, also known as moly, or graphite suspended in the grease to reduce the friction and wear without adverse chemical reactions. Grease is often used in high-temperature applications or in slow-moving bearings, where frequent oil lubrication is difficult to accomplish. But how do you know you've got the best grease for the task at hand? Well, the first thing you should do when selecting a grease is consult the owner's manual. This will always contain the recommended greases and the ideal relubrication intervals for your vehicle or equipment. Next, you'll want to determine the operating temperature, whether it is typically cold or hot where the grease will be in use, and the environment, whether it will be dirty or wet. Knowing the operating temperature will help you choose a viscosity for your grease. For instance, for equipment operating with high temperatures, low speed, and high loads, a high viscosity grease would be best. But for equipment operating under low temperatures, high speeds, and low loads, a low viscosity grease would be better suited for the task. It is also important to know whether you are looking for a synthetic or a non-synthetic grease. Typically, synthetic greases are more beneficial in wet or agriculture environments, as they are waterproof and chemical proof. However, they also tend to be more expensive than their non-synthetic counterparts. So, it really depends on the type of equipment you are greasing and what sort of environment you are working in. Now let's talk specifics. For high temperature environments, Castrol developed the PYROPLEX red grease. This lithium complex grease meets the highest performance standards of automotive fleet, industrial, farm, and off-highway equipment operations. PYROPLEX red has excellent rust protection, mechanical stability, and is the practical choice for bearings, couplers, gears, and more. The dependable lubrication this grease provides reduces maintenance costs and leads to less equipment downtime. In environments with lower temperatures, extreme pressure, and the presence of moisture, the PYROPLEX Gold Seal is ideal. This semi-synthetic grease contains more than 20% solids, including 6% moly, which gives equipment a protective lubricant barrier against wear, even with high loads. The semi-synthetic base oil and specifically chosen thickeners allow this grease to maintain its pumpability even in low temperature environments. It even uses Castrol's hydroactivation technology, which guards against water spray-off. If you know you need a grease to stand up against wet or damp conditions, the PYROPLEX blue grease stays in place. This grease maintains its mobility and continues to build tack and adhesion when faced with water contamination. Using the hydroactivated technology, PYROPLEX blue resists softening and washout when continually exposed to moisture. It promotes extremely long bearing life and provides a strong barrier of protection for critical components in high temperature environments. For extreme pressure, especially on heavily loaded equipment such as bulldozers, shovels, loaders, and off-highway trucks, the CONTRACTOR Special Moly Grease really is an all-around champ. Formulated to offer high temperature and heavy-duty performance coupled with good pumpability, this grease is perfect for applications where a tough, durable lubricating film is needed. Now I know that was a lot of information, but the important thing to take away is grease is responsible for two main things: protecting and lubricating equipment and moving parts, while making sure that dirt and water don't get in and damage those same surfaces. If you want to keep your system running smoothly, don't skip those recommended relubrication intervals. If you have any questions, feel free to leave us a comment down below. Or you can check out our website at greggdistributors.ca. Again, I'm Mike, and it's time for this squeaky wheel to hit the road. Thanks for tuning in.